something like that. Rum tum tum da 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 rum tum tum da 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 something's wrong. Ah, much better. Good morning, or good evening, good noon, whenever you're watching this. Now that was some high quality, handmade movie making, wasn't it? Right? Real special effects done in camera, no computers involved. How about that? What does that all have to do with this video? Not much, other than the fact that some of the things that I just showed you are what I'm gonna talk about in this very video. And also, it's almost Christmas. And not only do I love Christmas, Christmas is also the time when a new Star Wars movie comes out, right? Used to be the time when a new Disney movie comes out. Now it's a new Star Wars movie, but since Star Wars now belongs to Disney, I think that all fits as well. But Christmas is also the time of presents. Christmas is the time of lights. So I hung up a couple of Christmas lights to create some beautiful bouquet. And that is what we're going to talk about in this video. Bokeh is a Japanese word that simply means blur. So whenever we refer to bokeh in photography, we talk about the, let's call it, quality of the thrown out of focus elements in our photos. So how do these thrown out of focus elements in our photos look like? How the bokeh looks mostly has to do with the lens. So the build quality of the lens, of the quality of the glass elements, but also the amount of aperture blades built into the lens and how much we close or open the lens. Getting bokeh circles is super easy. We just need to have some lights in the background and throw them out of focus. That works with basically every lens. I found that the longer the focal length and the bigger the aperture, the more, let's call it, the more impressive the bokeh is. Depending on how your lens is built, the bokeh will look differently. Some lenses have a more swirly bokeh, others have a very clear and creamy bokeh. So this can be huge fun trying to find out how the bokeh of the different lenses look like. The cool thing is we can actually shape the bokeh. Why is that? The shape of the bokeh is directly connected to the shape of the opening the light falls through when entering your camera, right? And so the shape of the opening of your lens. I mentioned before that the amount of aperture blades also is directly responsible for how the bokeh looks like. And you can try that yourself, right? Do it like me, right? Put some Christmas lights up, take a camera, throw the Christmas lights out of focus, and then open up the aperture of your lens so that the maximum amount of light falls into your camera, and then close the aperture. And you will see that the shape of the bokeh changes from almost perfect circle or even a perfect circle to more some sort of hexagonal or octagonal shape, depending on your lens. If the bokeh doesn't change and it stays a perfectly round circle, then you have a pretty good lens, right? Because usually higher priced lenses, higher quality lenses have more aperture blades. So even when closing the aperture, the opening will stay very close to a perfect circle. But we can use that by using different sorts of shapes that we put in front of the lens, like a heart. A heart shape will make the bokeh heart-shaped. Or I use a little Christmas tree, right? Also makes the bokeh look like a Christmas tree or a star. All sorts of shapes are possible. The two things that I found important while making these cookie cutter shapes for bokeh is that the smaller the shape is that we cut into the cardboard, the better, and that it has to be ideally perfectly centered. Also, lenses with big glass elements, like the 50mm 1.8, are easier to handle because if you have smaller glass elements, it's hard to make the shapes small enough. I saw bokeh kits online, but I found them pretty expensive for something that I can easily build myself. I took some cardboard. The color doesn't really matter. I found that the darker the better because I wasn't able to really put it really completely perfectly on the lens, so there was always a bit of spill light. So the darker the carton, the black would be perfect, right? And I just cut out circles with some handles at the sides that I can fold aside, right? And then just put some rubber bands around the lens. If you want things a bit more stable, you can use, of course, some kind of plastic like that one. I cut this out from a binder, so probably a bit more stable than cardboard. Even works when you're outside. Go to a Christmas market, right? There are always lights everywhere, and if you have and even if it starts to snow or slightly rain, it won't get soaked and wet. So plastic might be a good idea for that. I hope you found this interesting, maybe even worth trying it out. I will certainly try it out at family Christmas because there will be lots of lights and lots of people. So yeah, and as I said, I'm a huge Christmas fan. And well, what you see here, by the way, is my little studio. Some people ask me about that. I will answer all the questions also concerning the studio in my probably last video this year, which will hopefully be published on December 23rd. There's an AMA, Ask Me Anything, on my blog running. I had a couple of questions, I got a couple of questions that I will answer all in that. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You can always message me on Tumblr, on my blog tvoom.tumblr.com. You can message me on Twitter. My handle is Vortex of Our Mind. Everything in the description, and you can also email me if you want to. You will find all the email information on my blog tvoom.tumblr.com in the About section. So this one's for today. Bye bye. Till next time. For more videos on photography and stupid jokes, you can always subscribe to this channel. Also, did I mention that I love Christmas?